What's up everybody, my name's Big Cam and welcome to the final video of 2025, and we are talking today my Letterboxd 2025 movies, and we're ranking them, and these are all movies from 2025 or from the end of 2024 that I didn't get to see in 2024 and I caught them at the beginning of this year. So there is a couple of 2024 movies on this list, but not many. It's majority 2025 films, and we'll end out with our top 10 films and our top 5 films of 2025. And I think the higher we get on this list, the more and more confident I am that these are my top films of the year and movies that I think you have to go see. But starting at the bottom of the list with the worst films of 2025, by far #1 worst film of the year is War of the Worlds from director Rich Lee, starring Ice Cube, and they made this during the pandemic, and it was just all types of awful. I gave this movie 1 star. It was probably didn't even deserve the 1 star. It was really, really bad. And yeah, moving on from there though, we got Playdate, which was alright, just not that great. Naked Gun, some people really loved and thought that was really hilarious. Not really here for me. Tom Hardy's Havoc was also one of those movies that I was just like highly forgettable, just not that great. Amelia Perez, Elio, Love Hurts. Oh, Love Hurts, it hurts that I had to put it this low. You know, like, because Ke Huy Quan, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't even seen this movie, but starring Ke Huy Quan, coming off of like Everything Everywhere All at Once and winning his Oscar, you know, trying him out as a leading man. I don't know if it necessarily worked, but it was a sweet little Valentine's Day movie nonetheless. Lilo and Stitch live action, I prefer the animated, but live action did make $1 billion, so there is that. Sydney Sweeney and Julianne Moore in Echo Valley, not that bad a movie. They probably should have used more Sydney Sweeney, but overall I gave it about 3 stars. Not the best, not the worst. Last Breath with Simu Liu and Woody Harrelson, not bad, not great. Deep Cover with Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando Bloom, and Nick Mohammed from Ted Lasso, and that was like an Amazon Prime movie, not that great either. You're Cordially Invited, Reese Witherspoon, Will Ferrell, that was kind of funny, not that great. A Working Man, Jason Statham, he certainly is a working man. He just keeps putting out these action movies. For who? I don't know, maybe just for him, but I don't know, that one wasn't that bad. His last one, Beekeeper, wasn't that bad either, but like just really, yeah, he could be doing other things, but he's just like, oi, I talk slow and I beat people up, and that's what I specialize in. You know, like, and that's just where Jason Statham likes to live at, you know, and staying in shape by kicking people's asses and just being that badass guy, you know. But I don't know, I feel like he could be doing some other things. Make a Transporter 5 or whatever, I don't know. The Brutalist was a Best Picture nom from 2024, and boy oh boy was that a brutal runtime of 3 hours, and Adrian Brody, my goodness, like, he's good, but like, he probably should not have won for Best Actor for that movie, and Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown probably should have. But moving on, another Simple Favor, that's like the sequel to Simple Favor with Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively, and those two, you know, they were in like a, you know, more tropical setting for this one. I think they went like on like a, you know, beautiful island of Capri, Italy, you know, so they weren't necessarily just at home like they were in the first film, but that was a decent little sequel. Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme, not bad. Benicio del Toro was pretty good. On to 72. In the Lost Lands with Dave Bautista was pretty damn good movie, but probably underwatched. Probably a bunch of people did not see. Nobody 2 was another one of those where they were good, but just underwatched, and Bob Odenkirk did a good job, but honestly Nobody 1 was probably better. The Electric State, probably one of the most expensive movies of the year to be this low on the list, is just a shame. But like Millie Bobby Brown, I believe, Chris Pratt, the Russo brothers, so like it should have been good, but just a lot of people did not like this one. And clearly I didn't either, because considering it's number 70 on my list for 2025. 69, The Amateur, which is just funny that that's the movie that's 69. But Rami Malek, you know, a bunch of other people in this film. Rachel Brosnahan making a quick little cameo. Michael Stuhlbarg, Lawrence Fishburne, you know, some decent people in this film as well, but just not that interesting, not that much going on. And Rami Malek, honestly, the more I see of him, the least I like him. Mufasa, the live action, but still kind of animated, but they, it's like live action now because they make the animals look real. I don't know, they could have just made animated movies like the original Lion King, but technology's so good now, they're like, why not? Why not make it live action? But the live action Mufasa, the Lion King, wasn't too bad. Aaron Pierre as Mufasa, that wasn't, terrible at all. And Aaron Pierre is going to be the next Jon Stewart for the Lanterns TV show. I'm hyped to see that. The Thursday Murder Club was a little murder mystery with Pierce Brosnan, I believe Helen Mirren, Ben Kingsley, on Netflix. That wasn't bad. The Old Guard 2, another one on Netflix. Charlize Theron, pretty much like the Old Guard 1. If you liked that, you'll probably like the sequel. Conclave was a 2024 film that was pretty damn good, and honestly, I gave 3 stars, but for what it is, like, that's a good movie for what it is. And then it's funny as hell that like that movie came out and then the next year we as a society had a conclave picking the next pope, and he's from Chicago. Hey. The Piano Lesson was a 2024 film from Denzel's son, Malcolm Washington, starring his other son, John David Washington, with also Daniel Dead Wheeler, Sam L. Jackson, Ray Fisher, Corey Hawkins, like a good cast. And like, I believe The Piano Lesson was a play that they turned into a film. It was pretty well done for what it is as well, like not necessarily my favorite type cup of tea movies, but like for it to be at 64, it's a solid 3.5 star film for me. Now, a little bit of a creepy but still entertaining and kind of keeps you on your edge of a seat movie. At 63, we have Speak No Evil with James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis and a bunch of other people in there, Scoot McNairy. Good cast, creepy movie. Same as the next one, 62, Nosferatu from Robert Eggers. Very creepy. I'm certainly looking forward to his next film, Werewolf. Probably going to be awesome. A 2024 film about Pharrell's life called Piece by Piece, which was like, I think I watched this early 2025. I was still kind of into Legos. I wasn't into the Hot Toys as much at the moment. I'm still into Legos, but they're now just in the basement. They're not in the recording studio, if you would. But the little Pharrell movie, Piece by Piece, it's a Lego movie, but it's still Pharrell's life story. So there's some shit in the Piece by Piece Lego documentary that you're like, wait a second, what? Like, did they really just say that? But like, it's Pharrell, so it's still kind of interesting, and the music in it's phenomenal. Like, you go through that and you go, holy shit, Pharrell had a piece to do with each one of these banger songs. Like, of course he did. He's fucking Pharrell. But top 60, I can probably say I genuinely like these films, but we'll go through them either way. The Death by a Unicorn with Jenna Ortega, Paul Rudd, that was kind of funny, kind of weird. The Bad Guys 2 was a solid-ass animated film. Any families out there, you love that one. Same with the Happy Gilmore 2 for the families out there. Happy Gilmore 1's probably still a better movie, but still great to see Adam Sandler back as Happy Gilmore. Honey Don't, oh, what a good film. 3 stars, but still, she probably deserves a little bit more. Ethan Coen, Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans. Decent little cast. Margaret Qualley is a leading woman. The more and more I see her in roles like this, I'm like, what a fucking beautiful woman. And she did like Drive Away Dykes too. So good. Like, I love Margaret Qualley. And she's just drop dead gorgeous too. So her and Aubrey Plaza together in this movie, whew, hot. Kinky. Where are my freaks at? Speaking of freaks, where's my next movie? 56, Baby Girl. Oof, the freaks will love this one, and any of the horny moms out there will love this one as well. Nicole Kidman. And if you were like a mom that got divorced and you're single and you're like maybe thinking about getting back out there, but also you're like, oh, I could never do that. I'm too old. And then all of a sudden this young, handsome guy's, flirting with you and attracted to you. Fucking go for it. Be Nicole Kidman and Baby Girl. Drop, which I believe was on Peacock maybe, or maybe Hulu, but Drop was a pretty good one where like, it's like she's on a date, but somebody keeps airdropping her, death threats and like, we're gonna kill your son, don't tell your date, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, okay, well you have to be within, 50 yards or whatever to send an airdrop, so this person has to be in the restaurant. So then it's like, okay, is it the server? Is it the manager? Is it that creepy guy at the table? Is it that guy? Who is it? So then the whole time you're playing this like, well, who is it? Who's the bad guy type of thing. And I love a little mystery like that where you're like, all right, let this bitch unfold. Let's see how this goes, you know? 54, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, pretty damn good. I love that Keanu Reeves was Shadow, and if you guys liked the other two Sonic movies, I'm sure you'll like Sonic 3 as well. Definitely one of the most underrated films of the year. 3.5 stars, Roof Man, with Channing Tatum playing Jeffrey Manchester, Kirsten Dunst as like his love interest in the film, but like a true story that just is so wild that you're like, I can't believe this is true, but like it is, and Channing Tatum in that kind of role did a phenomenal job, and yeah, well done. I really liked Roof Man. Merv and Oh What Fun, two good little holiday films that came out this year, one with Zooey Deschanel and Charlie Cox, the other with Dennis Leary, Michelle Pfeiffer, and a bunch of other people, but both on Amazon Prime, so if you're still in the holiday mood, go check those out. Zootopia 2 tops off the top 50, and Zootopia 2 I gave, 3.5 stars. Still very good. I think the first one's maybe a little bit better, but, definitely worthy of the $1.5 billion it's already made. A very small film, but starring Colin Farrell, and I believe is on Netflix. You'll probably have to search it, though, because it's like one of those films that's like a needle in a haystack on Netflix. You just can't find it unless you try to find it, but it's called Ballad of a Small Player, and it's pretty damn good. I gave it 3.5 stars. Very interesting movie, very moody, very slow and dramatic, but also kind of like the type of film where you're like, some shit happens and you're like, should I be laughing or is this serious? But I don't know. Watch it, take it in, let me know what you guys think. And if you guys are, watching this as, maybe a movie recommendation on what you should watch next, please comment below whatever you did end up watching and let me know what you thought about it. And also let me know, like, what's your top movies of 2025. 48, we have the How to Train Your Dragon live action film. That was pretty damn good. One of Them Days, Keke Palmer and SZA, very funny. The Pickup as well with Keke Palmer, Eddie Murphy, and Pete Davidson, also quite funny. One's a heist film, one's like, maybe kind of a heist film, but also just kind of like a buddy comedy with SZA and Keke Palmer, and they're hilarious together in that film. Black Bag, a Steven Soderbergh film. I gave 3.5 stars. Just an incredible cast, but like, I don't know, maybe I need to rewatch Black Bag. I don't remember too much from that film, but Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett, so it can't be that bad a film, and I'm sure it's got like heist moments and it takes a spy to hunt a spy, so it's kind of like, heady thing, but I don't know, maybe good. Comment below your thoughts on Black Bag if you remember that film. The Minecraft movie, gotta love that. 2025, Jared Hess with Jason Momoa, Jack Black, Emma Myers, Sebastian Eugene Hansen as the kids, Daniela Brooks, Jennifer Coolidge is in there as well. Mad funny. La 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 lava, chicken. Ooh, the American chicken and infinity. Yeah. Minecraft is too funny, bro. Like, it wasn't a good film. That's why it's 44, but man, was it funny. Same with Heads of State. Not that great a film, but boy did I laugh and enjoy myself. John Cena, Idris Elba there. It's so funny. Heads of State, Minecraft. Two films that should be higher up on the list, but very funny. Now, two films that were good, but just kinda not all that cheery. Number 42, Warfare. Tough film to watch. You're like, ooh, lots of war, lots of bang, boom, bam. But also like the most realistic like op I've ever seen. Like it wasn't like this big war. It was just one mission these guys were trying to like infiltrate this building, and then they're trying to get out, exfiltrate the building. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not that long a movie either, but like it is a crazy jam-packed like 90 minutes, I'm pretty sure. 95 minutes. Like it's got a good cast in it as well. And Will Poulter, I think, leads the way, and like Cosmo Jarvis, Kit Connor, Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's son's in there as well. Like a damn good war movie, just not necessarily my thing. And if you guys know me, I'm a huge werewolf guy, so this film came back out in January and really should have been a Halloween film, but it came out early in the year. And this Wolfman from 2025 was really good. Christopher Abbott, who played like the husband who was like the werewolf, Julia Gardner, Matilda Firth, which I think is the daughter there, and man, like, small cast, not a whole lot going on, but man, is that a pretty damn good werewolf film, but also not the best werewolf film I've ever seen. I gave it 3.5 stars, but could have been better. But it was also interesting take on werewolf films, not like any of the other werewolf films I've ever seen. Alright, I gotta speed this up a little bit, but moving on to 40 Straw, pretty good movie. Taraji P. Henson, Tyler Perry, pretty stressful film, but still well done. Back in action, Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz returning back in action as an actress. I love that. Cameron Diaz is a stud, so she should be in more things, and that movie was actually pretty damn good with those two as like a couple. Not bad. A Real Pain, that was pretty damn good, from Jesse Eisenberg directing and starring, with also Kieran Culkin, who ended up winning an Oscar for his role in this movie. And yeah, also well done, a little slow, a little weird, but like well done film. Mountainhead was on HBO Max. A lot of people hated this film. I gave it like 4 stars. I thought it was very funny. And just like the people, Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, Corey Michael Smith, and Rami Youssef, as like the 4 billionaires bouncing off of each other, and like the 4 actors mainly in the film. Very funny. Play Dirty, an Amazon Prime film. Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield, not bad. The Gorge, Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, not bad film. The two of them like lovers. That's an Apple TV Plus film, not bad. Another Apple TV Plus film, Highest to Lowest, a Spike Lee joint with A$AP Rocky and Denzel Washington, not bad. Mickey 17 was a Rob Pattinson and Bong Joon-ho film. I think I like Parasite much more, but Mickey 17 made me giggle a little bit, and the cast in that, they were doing some weird shit. Jack Quaid in Novocaine, that movie was interesting and like original and like a decent take. Like if this guy's superpower was that he can't feel pain, you know, like he can still get injured, but he can't feel it, you know. So all of a sudden he's like, ow, there's a knife in my hand, but he's just like, he can't, you know, he's just like, he thinks it's supposed to hurt, but he can't show pain, you know, like interesting take for a movie. Substance at 31, very good film, very traumatizing film. I will never watch The Substance again. Too much body horror for me, and body gore, and like climbing out of her spine and stabbing needles into her back. Yeah, I'm okay. That was good. Fucked up. Super fucked up. Don't watch The Substance unless you have a strong stomach. And if you are going to watch it, don't eat it. Don't eat and then watch that film. You know what I mean? Like, watch that on an empty stomach. The Materialist at 30, Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, the 3 of them, you know, as like a love triangle. She's in the middle. I love a love story. I was here for that. Flow, one of the best animated films of the year, and I believe it won an Oscar for animated film of last year. It's a 2024 film. It is so good. Flow is one of the films put on for your kids. It's like Tom and Jerry, but like a full movie, and you know, it's got no words, but like let your kids' imagination, you know, make up the words, and that film's awesome. Now, if they can't do that and they need more of an animated film that has characters and words and actors playing those characters, The Wild Robot. Phenomenal movie. Lupita Nyong'o is, I believe, the voice of the Wild Robot, and Pedro Pascal's also in there, a bunch of other people, but like, not a bad little animated films, those two there. Flow and Wild Robot coming in at 29 and 28. The Accountant 2, John Bernthal, Ben Affleck, that was quite funny. I thought that was much funnier than the first film, and really enjoyed the second film quite a bit. Except Anna Kendrick should have been back for The Accountant 2, but it is what it is. Freakier Friday at 26, that was also a really good film. So like the top 25 here are really films that I enjoyed. 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. But Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis back as, you know, mother and daughter for Freaky Friday reboot 20-something years later. Too funny, really good. I thought the first one was iconic. Second one also really well done, really funny. Highly enjoyed myself. 25, we have Jurassic World Rebirth. Honestly, could have been better, and Gareth Edwards made this film in like 12 months flat, and if he had maybe another year or so to work on it, it probably would have been better. But if I was him and I wasn't moving on to something else, and I wanted to do a Jurassic World Rebirth, you know, 2, and do a sequel to this, keep, you know, Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Jonathan Bailey, they're great. Keep them. But don't force it. Don't put it out in a year. Let it sit, you know, sit on the story. Make sure the script is phenomenal before you ever get into the VFX or anything like that, you know. But I trust his visual effects to look awesome, but his scripts need just a little bit more work, you know, especially with that Jurassic World Rebirth. It was really good. The visual effects look phenomenal, maybe the best out of any of the movies, but the script itself needed some extra time and maybe an extra little year or so reworking that film. Maybe it was just in the edit, you know, but maybe it was just it needed some more time, you know, and that's just happens, you know, but hopefully he gets it in the future. He gets the time he needs to make a phenomenal film. But top 25 here, we're moving on to 24, Ballerina, Ana de Armas, another John Wick franchise film. Pretty good. I think I'll talk more about Ballerina when her Hot Toys figures come out and I get a chance to rewatch that film for a second time. But earlier in the year, I did a back-to-back double feature with Ballerina and The Materialist. Very good back-to-back double feature. I enjoyed that. The action, you know, women-led heavy film, and then the rom-com-y drama, you know, that funny type of film. The Running Man, 23, Edgar Wright, and of course Glenn Powell as Ben Richards, the Running Man, Josh Brolin, Coleman Domingo, Lee Pace, Michael Cera. Very good film. I enjoyed that in the theaters, one of the few films I saw in theaters this year, and quite enjoyed The Running Man. Wake Up Dead Man, 22, the third in the Knives Out mystery trilogy. Not bad. Wicked for Good. Not as good as Wicked Part 1, but Ariana Grande is improved in the second film, and Cynthia Erivo is still an absolute beast. She crushed it as Elphaba, so still a really good movie. Top 21 films of the year, but I think I like Wicked Part 1 much more. Den of Thieves Part 2, ooh, Pantera, in this time around you get Gerard Butler and Osei Jackson Jr. working together rather than hunting each other down. Interesting little heist film there, and you know, they were abroad, they weren't in LA like they were the first film. So I don't know, man, the Den of Thieves Part 3 got greenlit, so I'm certainly going to be here for that. And I love a heist film. I love a great actor-led duo that seem to be having a good time together. You know, I love that kind of thing. Saturday Night, the movie about the first Saturday Night Live as they're hitting their 50th SNL, you know, SNL 50 years of it. So I don't know, that was a really interesting first SNL movie and a look back at that, but just seeing, you know, people playing Lorne Michaels, playing Rosie Schuster, Rachel Sennett, you know, like Corey Michael Smith playing Chevy Chase, Daniel O'Brien playing Dan Aykroyd, you know, Matt Wood playing John Belushi, you know, certain things, seeing actors play these older actors, some past, you know, and like Belushi, you know, and seeing him embody Belushi, you know, like it was just really funny. And I enjoyed that Saturday night film quite a bit. But Roses with Benedict Cumberbatch, Olivia Colman, very, very interesting little rom-com. I highly enjoyed that too. That was one of my most anticipated films of the year. Very glad that it stayed in my top 20. Honora, a 2024 film, but still the best picture from last year. I had to go check it out. Mikey Madsen, absolutely gorgeous, and she kills it in this movie. And just like for what it is, it's like just an interesting film, and you're like, you get to the end, you're like, that was the best picture, but then you think about it more and more, and you're like, yeah, I guess it was the best picture. You know, it wasn't made for all that much money, and it's just like super compelling. So much happens, but also you're just following like this young boy Ivan and his girl Annie, and like Mikey Madsen just living the dream, and like, yeah, a pretty damn good film. I really did like Honora. Now, maybe my most underrated film of the year, and a film that nobody's seen, but they really should, and if there's one film on this list that I can recommend for you to go see, it's fucking Nona's. Oh, on Netflix, Nona's is so good. It's like a true story based on a guy that opened up a restaurant with Nona's as the chefs, and it's like such a good idea. But the ladies, like, you know, Vince Vaughn's playing the guy Joe, and then we got Lorraine Baccarat, Susan Sarandon, Linda Cardellini's in there as well, Brenda Vaccaro, Drea Di Matteo, Joe Manganiello. Like, there's some great cast in this, but like the grandmothers, oh my goodness, were they funny. And like Lorraine Baccarat as like one of the main ones, so funny. And like, you know, just such a heartwarming movie, and like the relationships in it, and then it's all about food and Nona's and pizza, like incredible. I loved it so much. 15, Captain America Brave New World, very good. Not the best Marvel film they've put out, but man, seeing Red Hulk was impressive and awesome. Fountain of Youth, an Apple TV Plus little mystery action adventure treasure hunt. Kind of really enjoyed that, with John Krasinski, Natalie Portman, Isa Gonzalez, Domhnall Gleeson, you know, like decent cast. Killer of Killers, Predator, Killer of Killers, the animated Dan Trachtenberg film that came out earlier this year, a surprise little Predator film. Really loved how he did this, where it was 3 different parts in 3 different time zones, and then the 4th part kind of brought everything together and tied it into one cohesive project. I love the Predator so much, so good. Timothée Chalamet's Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown, at 12, and James Mangold directed his ass off for this film. Definitely an underrated film as well. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, maybe deserves even more than that. I love Bob Dylan's music as well, so Timmy really did a phenomenal job. Caught Stealing at 11. Oh, I love this film. Darren Aronofsky, and then like just the cast: Austin Butler, Zoe Kravitz, Regina King, Matt Smith, Liev Schreiber, Vincent D'Onofrio, Griffin Dunne, you know, Bad Bunny, you know, like such a good cast. I really enjoyed Caught Stealing quite a bit. I believe that's on Netflix now streaming. Fantastic Four: First Steps at 10. Rounding out my top 10, Mission Impossible, The Final Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, coming in at 9. One Battle After Another, I thought would have been higher, but that came in at 8. F1 with Brad Pitt was just phenomenal. It's one of the most beautiful films I saw of the year. That's at 7. Thunderbolts coming in at 6. And then rounding out my top 5, Avatar: Fire and Ash at 5. Predator: Badlands at 4. Frankenstein at 3, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. James Gunn's Superman at 2, definitely my most watched film of 2025. And then my number 1 movie of the year, Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Michael B. Jordan, so many good people in this. Haley Steinfeld, Miles Catton, oh my goodness, Jack O'Connor, Wumi Musaka, Delroy Lindo, oh my goodness, like such a good cast, such a good soundtrack, such a good script, like should win Best Director, Best Picture. I don't know if he'll win Best Actor, but like the best, it should very least get the Best Director nomination and Best Picture nomination, and if not, in my opinion, it should win. But comment below, what are your favorite films of 2025? Can you rank your top films of 2025 that came out this year? Maybe just the top 10 or top 5. You know, I'd love to know what your top film of the year is, and what do you think should win the Oscar for Best Picture? I'd love to hear all of your top 2025 movies and rank them, you know, however many you watched. I'd love to see your Letterboxd lists if you guys got those. Maybe comment the link down below, or follow me on my Letterboxd. Links for all my other social medias down in the description below. And if you'd like to send your 2025 movie thoughts to me, Big Cam, 2G's in the Big, pretty much anywhere. Like I said, the social media links are in the description below. Or you can just comment below your 2025 top 10 films or top 5 films of 2025 and rank them. And I'd love to hear what your top films of the year were. And if you aren't on Letterboxd and you watched a bunch of these films, get a Letterboxd. One of the best movie apps I have, you know, and tracking all my watches this year, you know, and just going through the stats on Letterboxd. It says I watched 290 movies this year, which is absolutely insane. It says I watched about 24.2 movies a month, 5.6 movies a week. Wow. So I could have watched more, is what they're saying. The first film I watched of this year, on January 1st of 2025, on New Year's Day, we went to see A Complete Unknown in theaters with my mother. And the last film I watched last night was The Man with the Golden Gun, the 007 film from 1974. But my 250th film of the year was Ghostbusters Afterlife. My 200th was John Wick 2. My 150th was Superman 2. My 100th film of the year was Lilo and Stitch. And my 50th film of the year was Nosferatu. My most watched films of the year: Superman over 10 times, Thunderbolts 4 times, AVP, Alien vs. Predator 1 3 times. Not sure what possessed me to do that. Fantastic Four: First Steps 3 times in theaters, or 2 times in theaters, maybe once at home. Sinners 3 times, twice at home. Captain America: Brave New World, twice in theaters, once at home. Deadpool and Wolverine, twice, and one of them was just in the last couple weeks. And then Avatar: Way of Water I watched twice, and that was recently. Most watched actor of the year was Samuel L. Jackson with 12, Chris Evans with 11. Most watched director was James Cameron with 5. So it's interesting, Letterboxd shows you a bunch of these different stats, and then, you know, I can go back and see, okay, how many movies, because of the lists that I made, how many films did I see in theaters this year? And it says 19, but I saw Superman 3 times in theaters, I saw Thunderbolts twice in theaters, and I saw Fantastic Four First Steps twice in theaters. So, you know, we started out with A Complete Unknown in January, and the last thing we saw in theaters was Avatar Fire and Ash. But just this year in theaters, we saw A Complete Unknown, Captain America Brave New World, Sinners, the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars Episode 3, Thunderbolts twice, Lilo and Stitch, live action, Ballerina, Materialist, Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, Elio, I went and saw with my niece, same as Lilo and Stitch, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, Fantastic Four First Steps. That was a huge summer of movies just because F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four First Steps, those 2 films alone I saw 5 times in theaters. And then add 6 and 7, so 7 times within like a 2-month period to the theaters to only see 4 films. That's a lot of movie going, and that's why I probably took a big break between the summer and then waited till like November, and I saw Predator Badlands in theaters, Wicked for Good, The Running Man, Zootopia 2 with my niece, and then Avatar Fire and Ash to end out the year. But as far as, you know, I said 290 films, but some of those were duplicates. So I watched, out of those 290, 50 of those I watched over again, because 240 different films I watched in 2025, and of those 240, 131 of them was the first time I was ever watching them in 2025. And then out of 131 of those first time watches, 88 of them were from 2024 or 2025. So yeah, decent little lists. I love making these lists, and I love, you know, collecting the data on my movie going experience, you know what I mean? But like in 2024, I watched 394 movies, but I also was trying to do the 365-day movie challenge. So I watched nearly 100 less movies in 2025. But I watched a significant amount more shows, you know, like I got all 5 seasons of Stranger Things done, for God's sakes, you know what I mean? Like that took a lot of time away from movies, if you know what I mean. But, you know, so comment below your favorite film of 2025, but also going into 2026, should I do my 1 movie per day challenge like I tried to do in 2024? Should I do that again? Or should I just do what I did last year and just try and do as much as I possibly can and see if we can top our numbers from 2025? But comment below your thoughts on my list here, your top films, your top 10, top 5 films of 2025, your Letterboxd scores for these films. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please drop a comment down in the comment section below. Like this video if you want to see more things talking about movies in Letterboxd. Thank you guys so much for sticking around this far in the video. If you made it this far, my name's Big Cam once again. Follow my other social medias. And the best way to support the channel is liking this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future videos and you get the notifications when those come out. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video and making it this far. It means the world to me, and I will see you beautiful people in 2026. Peace!